Welcome to Love and Lattes, the podcast designed for women who are ready to stop settling and start living a life full of authentic love, confidence, and real connection. I'm your host, Victoria, the self-love scientist, speaker, and coach, and I'm here to help you reclaim your power, deepen your relationships, and fall unapologetically in love with yourself. So grab your tea, your latte, or your favorite beverage, and let's get started.
Here's the thing about pleasure. Most of us were never taught how to explore it for ourselves. We were taught how to achieve, perform, check all the boxes, but no one actually hands us a guidebook on how to slow down, reconnect with our bodies, and understand what feels good for us. I know, because for years, I was always in my head, always busy, kind of just train tracking around, achieving and people pleasing those around me. And I didn't even realize how disconnected I was from my own pleasure until some things kind of fell into place. And today, that's going to change for you too. I am so excited because this episode is going to be kind of a two-part series. We're going to dive into my pleasure principles. These pleasure principles are things that I have created over the past 3 years since separating and growing and learning how to reconnect with myself and love myself again. And I'm so excited to share those with you too. Each episode, we're going to go a little bit deeper into two principles, what it's about, how you can practice this at home. And the best part is, you'll have your very own pleasure principle guide waiting for you in the show notes so you can go even deeper. So, the first two principles I kind of want to discuss are called mindful self exploration and body positivity. These two combined are just going to make you like unbreakable, babe. And I'm so excited to dive into it. So, let's get into the first one. Principle number one, mindful self-exploration. This is all about slowing down and actually listening to your body, learning what feels good. What is it that you do want? What pleasure means to you? And all at the same time, as we're exploring this, noticing what emotions come up when you do connect with yourself, right? So, for an example, and I ask this question in all of my one-to-one containers, what does pleasure mean to you? If you're listening and you're able to write that down, I would. I would spend some time actually asking yourself that because surprisingly, a lot of women actually don't know. And that's okay because guess what? I was in the same situation. I had no idea that that was actually available for me. I had no idea that I was allowed to feel good or my body was actually capable of that. And that's so mind-blowing. When I tried this the first time, I thought, oh, well, pleasure, I gotta look a certain way and feel a certain way. And it's supposed to like, I just want to get it right. But the thing is, it's not about performing. It's actually about curiosity. Just like being a self-love scientist, we get to explore something new, and you are the new. Isn't that exciting? And so I love mindful self-exploration. And the other thing I want to emphasize about this is, when you're starting out in your journey, I want you to just take some time. This is going to be a slow, steady process because the first time might feel a little anxious. Another time might feel a little shameful. And I just want you to know that you're not alone in this journey and that those feelings that are coming up are valid, but they are not your own. They belong to something that may have happened to you in the past, maybe past lives. It could also be, there are a lot of things that could inflict on our feelings and emotions and minds when it comes to pleasure. I say this because I did personally realize, in the past that I overly, I discovered that, women are sexualized, right? And I was brought up in a generation where it's like, you have to please the man and then you'll have, your safety, security, blah, blah, blah. But then when I discovered, my self-worth and I was like, I also want to feel good and recognize that that was not some information provided. I was like, hold up, I got something to say. So, how exactly do we practice mindful self-exploration? Well, first we want to start with a body check-in, right? Maybe take some time throughout your day and just kind of check in. I know it sounds super simple, but starting with baby steps with mindful check-ins are so important. You want to sit there, close your eyes, take a deep breath in through the nose and a nice exhale out, and maybe even do 3 more of those. It's going to feel so good. And the other thing is, if you're in a relationship, check in with your partner. It is so important to understand what is it that feels good to your partner. And you might be surprised, you might be with someone or pursuing or dating someone that may not know this. So maybe send them this episode or have that conversation. Be like, hey, I'm curious. I would love to know what feels good to you. Or maybe we can schedule some time and explore each other. Because if you're willing to explore with your partner, then you're creating a safe container for intimacy. Isn't that what everybody wants? Yes. The other thing I want to say about mindful self exploration is if you're a journaler or a voice recorder, I want you again to practice writing what does pleasure mean to you? Because it is not just a one definition, one word specific for sex, right? Pleasure is literally a mood. It is a mood, but it is a core mood centered to that plays a part with intimacy and relationships. But it's also, it's a mood like, we're going into fall and I want you to feel all cozy and delicious. At the same time, you need to understand like you're worthy of experiencing pleasure. You're allowed to feel pleasure. So kind of entertain that thought, entertain that journal or voice recording or re-listen to this episode and find out what your own version of pleasure is. If you have any questions about it, shoot me a message or email and I'd be happy to walk you through it. The last thing about mindful self-exploration is, trying a little bit of, thinking about the emotions that come up, right? And I talked about this a little bit earlier that, when we start learning and exploring pleasure, we might immediately want to shut it down. And I just want you to know, I really, I am going to encourage you to give yourself grace that that is okay. It is okay to feel that hesitation or resistance because again, these emotions, the shame, the guilt, the feelings of unworthiness, they don't belong to you, but they do need to be addressed. So just pay close attention to that and you'll begin to trust yourself. You'll begin to feel more present. And this is going to create, we're already stepping into another dimension of deep pleasure. Okay. Just want to check in with you. How are we feeling? Excited? Good. Okay. Principle number 2, body positivity. This is probably one of the, if it's not the number one, it's a runner up for, something that it's a problem. It is something that we face every day as human beings, and it's probably a problem that I hear a lot often in my containers that I'm not happy with the way I look, or I feel gluggy, or I'm just a little self-conscious and I can't wear this. I would never do that. I can't stand the way I look in pictures. If this sounds familiar, hang on, because this principle is going to be your best friend. So let's talk about it. Body positivity is not about loving your body every single second. However, it is about creating an acceptance or even a real relationship with your body where you can celebrate and love what it can do over how it looks. Because let me tell you something. Your body is composed of thousands and thousands of cells and chemicals, and we're exposed to so many things. And there's just, your body is like a train. It is going so fast and changing every single day. We can't keep up with it. That's what the systems on the inside are for. However, it does deserve some recognition. When you're at work or when you're a child and your parent always awarded you, or in class you wanted to be picked, your body deserves to be chosen as well. I used to, look in the mirror and only see what I needed to change. I was like, damn, I'm not good enough, or my arms are too hairy, or I have a little bit, I have a belly and I'm self-conscious and I would never wear that lingerie. And the worst thing is this will drip into the bedroom. So if you're self-conscious about your body, you're going to be completely disconnected when you're with your partner because they're not going to read the room. They're going to think you're the bee's knees. and I could call you beautiful till I'm blue in the face, but you need to create that relationship. You need to speak to yourself in the way that you would speak to someone you love. And that's exactly what I did. I used my mirror, which is a tool I, hands down, one of the most powerful transformative tools to all my clients. Stand in front of the mirror and speak lovingly to your body. And that's where we're going to kind of, make our way into the tips on body positivity. It's called mirror talk. I want you to stand in front of a mirror and I want you to acknowledge the parts that you love and then find the parts, see what comes up. If you're hesitant to even begin, you're like, oh God, Victoria, please don't make me do this, right? It's so vulnerable. But guess what? Also requires you to be vulnerable, being intimate with yourself or your partner. And if you're unwilling to be vulnerable with someone, how can you experience real pleasure, connection, and intimacy? Especially for something like if that's something you want, you need to go over this hurdle. And this is something I practice almost every single day because, again, our bodies are changing. Maybe you're a mom, maybe you're on your cycle, maybe you're making changes. Your body deserves this connection, this you're addressing, I love my body and my body deserves kindness. I am worthy of pleasure. So, standing in front of the mirror and using these affirmations are going to create a wonderful bond with your body. Other ways we can encourage and build body positivity is movement that you actually enjoy. I could say, go for a walk, move your body, do Pilates, ugh. But sometimes that might feel like a punishment. I don't want you to punish yourself. I want you to love yourself. So maybe do a dance, put on your favorite song, or do an activity that feels really good. Love, love, love when a song comes on unexpectedly and I can't help but dance. Maybe no one's around, maybe someone's around. Don't know, don't care. I want to move my body. And guess what? You'll catch yourself in the mirror being like, damn, you're very, very hot, very fun. But that's the thing. That's the thing about body positivity is you're accepting, how good it feels to move. Like, I can't tell you, how exciting it is to like we are worthy to move and our bodies are literally designed like art, hence all the sculptures over in Italy, like they literally love women's bodies. So let's love our own. And finally, the last thing I want to do about body positivity is please address your social media. There's so much on social media right now, and I'm not knocking anything. However, I will encourage you to find the things that feel relatable, achievable, and add value to you versus taking away. Because if there's something that you're watching and you're like, oh, I could never, or I can't stand it, and you're loathing that, either dismiss it or you're going to have to practice some reframing because there might be something else underneath there. And again, this principle, just like the first one, emotions are going to come up. Whether it's shame, guilt, feelings of unworthiness, you are not alone. And when you stop fighting these, you will free up the real loving energy and actually enjoy it. Oh, doesn't that sound nice? Oh my gosh. Okay. So today we addressed how you could explore your body with mindfulness and shift the way you see yourself with body positivity. With these two principles, I would say start with one practice this week. If you want to do one a day, go ahead. Just understand that addressing pleasure can take some time. And I want you to ease into it, not rush, ease into it. Remember the body scan, checking in with yourself, checking in with your partner, or maybe someone who might be feeling a little self-conscious, check in with them. Sometimes it's nice to hear, which reminds me, how does it feel when you get a compliment, by the way? Because let me tell you, not only used to be super shy of getting my picture taken, like individually, my friends would love taking my pictures, and I was like, oh God, no. Now I'm like, will you take my picture? Because I just absolutely love who I am, where I'm at, and I love my body. And you get to do that too. So remember, the full pleasure principles guide is in the show notes to help you put these things into action and go a little bit deeper. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about empowered communication and self-pleasure mastery. Because once you know yourself, you can speak your desires, and own your pleasure unapologetically. I'm so excited. Let me know how this is going for you, and I'll see you in the next episode.